Hi guys, welcome to our IG Live with our former and current players. Today we'll be talking to Mia Raskin and I'm going to invite her to join in right now. Hi Mia.
I know how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to wait a couple minutes before getting started, but thank you for joining us tonight.
Am I here now?
What? Sorry.
Can you hear me now? Is it okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. How you doing, Nora?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, we're going to wait a couple more minutes just to see more people come in. But thank
Awesome.
you.
Of course. I'm so excited to talk to the PV Thunder family. Thank you, Ari Vesterman. What, sorry?
How have you been doing?
It's good. It's final season right now, so it's a little hectic, but everything's good. Oh, hi, family. It's so cute. People must have gotten a notification that I went live, right?
I think so. I know there's a notification going out that we went live, and I'm guessing that one went out for you joining as well.
Interesting. So seeing random people that have no PV Thunder connection at all. That's funny.
Okay. So let's start, just because I think we're at a steady number right now. Okay, so we have Mia Raskin joining us today. She's an alumni from PVT. She was part of the 2019 team as a shooting guard and point guard, I believe. She also is a starter of TrainBounceBack along with Irene and Lily. So yeah, we'll get started. So for my first question for you is, how did you hear about PVT for the first time?
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. I heard about PV Thunder from being on the classics. A lot of people were switching over from the classics to PV Thunder because I don't
Mm-hmm.
blame them.
I did the same.
And um, and then Becky Silverman being the assistant coach and having had a relationship before with her through I went to Berman Hebrew Academy for high school and she was the coach of JDS at the time, now the athletic director. And she's like, Mia, you gotta do it. And then I was like, all right, I'll do it. And that's the story.
That's awesome. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but why did you choose PVT?
For sure. So for starters, I owe a lot of it to Emily Martin, who is not on this right now, but she is at Villanova now, and she was my best friend on the classics. And she called me up and said, Mia, classics is great. It's not so serious right now, and I want to play more serious basketball. I'm switching over teams, and she switched in the fall, and she ended up actually getting hurt, and she texted me, Mia, they need to fill my spot in the spring. You should definitely go try out. She's like, it's way more intense. It's really serious. The coaches are really motivational, and the girls are awesome. And I was like, okay, that's all the things that I feel like I'm missing right now with the team I'm on. And I'm sure the classics have really bounced back since then. But but PV Thunder is definitely the place to be for me. So
Awesome. And so talking about kind of the business you started with Train Bounce Back, which is an amazing program for young girls. How did PVT inspire you to do that and kind of encourage you along the way?
for sure, that totally goes out to Coach Crystal. I don't know if she's still on, but Coach Crystal was the first female coach that I ever had that just fully wanted the best for every single girl on the team and put every single girl first and brought out the best, not just on the court, but off the court too. One of my favorite memories from P Thunder was I observed the Sabbath, and so that means that I can't drive. So I stayed at a hotel 4 miles away, and I was promised that my cousin would walk me back on Saturday. But my cousin had to end up leaving, and my plan was to stay at the arena until the Sabbath was over. So to put that into perspective, I was there from 8 a.m. and the plan was to be there until 8 p.m. And instead, after the whole team went out for lunch, they all came back and they all said, "Mia, we're walking with you. We're gonna observe the Shabbat with you." And we all walked 4 miles together. And like that was literally the epitome of Coach Crystal's leadership. Like it wasn't just about what we were able to do together on the court, but it was about bringing the best out of each other off the court too.
That's awesome. And I got to witness the community you have on your team. Can you touch a little bit on that? Because seeing it myself, it's just such an amazing environment.
Yeah, for sure. The community that we created on that team, like we still stick together. It's crazy. We talk to each other every so often. We meet up over breaks. We still play basketball together on breaks. It's like a bond being on the court and like getting really in each other's faces when things go wrong, but being able to get off the court and just hang out and do crazy scavenger hunts and go bowling and whatever crazy activities the coaches and the parents had planned for us. It's really a bond that is uncomparable to a lot of other teams that I've ever been on. And again, that goes out to the coaching staff. And just circling back to TrainBounceBack, I think that's what I was trying to accomplish with the program, and then in partnership with Irene and Lily, just to create an environment for girls to like be themselves on the court too. You don't have to. Girls playing basketball does not have to be compared to boys playing basketball. It's its own sport. It's its own game. And I think that by us creating this program, we really emphasized that you can be yourself and you can accomplish anything that you really set your mind to, no matter your physical capabilities or not. And that was really exciting for us to really start on and off the court.
You kind of talked about how like Coach Crystal was your first coach, a female coach, and in a way you're kind of the same for the young kids you coach. How does that kind of feel for you?
It's incredible. It's insane. I like show up to like the clinics that Irene and Lily are still running, and these girls literally scream, "Mia, Coach Mia," and like never in a million. I mean, not never in a million years, but I did not expect to be Coach Mia at 20. But just like getting that support and that love, like I know what I'm doing is making difference, or what I did at least, and the fact that Irene and Lily keep it going to the extent that they do is absolutely phenomenal. And it's amazing also that the parents put so much trust in us as high schoolers, as college students. I really like it. Really goes out to the parents for investing in their children the way that they do, and investing in us to support their children with their skills and also with who they are as people.
That's amazing. Just to kind of get back on track, but what are the most important skills that you've learned from PBT?
I would say advocate for yourself. Advocate for yourself on the court. That means that if you're confident that you have the hot hand that game, you're hollering at your teammates like, "Come on, give me the ball." And that means that if you're not on your game, that you're advocating for your teammates off the court too, on the bench. It's incredible. Like I remember that Coach Crystal said that college coaches care as much, if not more, about your demeanor off the court than as you play on. Like you can make as many buckets as you want, you can cross up as many people, get as many steals, but the second that you slouch on the bench, none of it matters. And like that idea of advocacy and like standing up for your teammates like they're your sisters, like those are your homies, like you want to protect them. Like those were the lessons that I learned from PB Thunder.
One of my favorite memories is like when your whole team was like watching one of our games and Kaylee was like hitting down so many threes and like every single hit like a new celebration. It was amazing.
It was crazy.
And I think like that goes along with just like encouraging your teammates and having that demeanor off court and on court, whether it's during a game or not. So next is, I kind of talked about this earlier about community. So I'm going to move on, is if you could describe PBT in one word, what would it be and why?
Whoa. One word. There's so many words that could describe PBT.
You can do a couple if you want.
I would say grit. The word grit like really stands out for me just because that like is the epitome of perseverance and never stop improving and never stop supporting, and the second you fall, you got to get up. And I think that the word grit was just preached amongst the coaches, amongst the players too. And I think that grit was also what bonded like our two teams together. We would be at the same tournament and we'd lose or we'd win, or one team would win, one team would lose, but it was the grit of like pushing each other forward that like really like went all the way, all the miles long. I don't, whatever the phrase is, you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. What is your proudest achievement both on and off the court?
Well, my proud achievement on the court had to be, I remember these player charts that Mickey Housen's dad would make, and it like broke down your stats, and you could either be a positive point player or a negative point player. And I remember one of the first games I was a negative point player, and it was like the most like aggravating thing. I was like, what? But then there were a couple games that I had positive point player games like in a row, and then I started showing consistency. And I remember Coach Crystal came up to me after the game, was like, "You did well," and I was like, "That's all I needed to hear." Like it didn't even matter what the stats she'd said that game. Like it was that like that positive reinforcement just through like words of affirmation that did it for me. And then off the court, I think that some of the teammates on my team were a year younger than me, so that means they graduated a year behind me, and we still celebrate each other's graduations and celebrated each other's birthdays. And I remember for Sophia Sarnowski's birthday, we did this crazy what was it? The dance. What's it called?
Oh yeah. Oh
I'm blanking. You know
yeah.
when everyone's dancing, that people keep going. And I watched the video recently, and I was just like, wow, this is what it's all about. Like it's about these relationships, and that's probably my prized achievement off the court is the relationships.
Absolutely. And I think we like another way we see it is I still have like my alumni coming to my games right now in high school. And I just think like it's continuous throughout wherever you are.
Yeah, I'll pull up next week. I'll be home from break, so I'll
Awesome.
be.
Okay. And actually, talking about kind of you're at college, can you talk about your new role with your school's women's basketball team?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so I decided that it wasn't the right choice for me to go D3. Those were my options. I had a couple D2, but none of the schools academically were enticing towards me. So then I decided to go to a bigger state school. I go to Binghamton University. And here at Binghamton, I am one of the 5 managers for the women's basketball team. And recently, a lot of the players have gotten injured, unfortunately. So during practice, they don't usually have enough to run fives. So I went into the coach's office a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, can I like please be more helpful than just wiping the floor and throwing balls?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's see what we can do." And right now, I'm in the process of filling out paperwork and doctors stuff, and hopefully, I'll be able to help out the team more during practice because of it. And again, that goes back to the advocacy and the grit. It's all if basketball is important to you, you don't need to be the starter on the court. You don't even need to be on the bench, but being behind those players, knowing that I'm adding to the game, watching to the game, learning about the game even more, is all I could ever ask for from my college experience.
That's incredible, honestly. Especially just like having that courage to go up and advocate for yourself and say like, "Hey, can I do more?" and being given that opportunity.
As a PV Thunder.
Yeah. And then last question for you is, how has PBT influenced your life, kind of as a whole?
I think what made PV Thunder so cool also was coming from like a Jewish day school. I have never met so many people, so many different backgrounds. And the fact that we all came on the court with just this mutual respect, just simply because we loved the same game, like at its core, like basketball may just be a game, but then like when you take it to like all those other levels, like it's so much more. And I think that I really gained that appreciation for it not just being a game and appreciating where everyone comes from and how everyone got to the place that they are. I'm forever grateful for everything that I gained. I will always bleed purple. I'll always support the next generation. But it's a really special community to have been a part of and to continue to be a part of.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And it was
Of
amazing.
course. It's been really fun. Thank you for including me. Good luck with everyone else. Good luck with the rest of your season. And I can't wait to hear more about PV Thunder's accomplishments.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And I just want to say thank you for everyone else who joined us today and got a glimpse into PVT and our alumni as well. So I hope you guys all have a good night, and thank you again.